Emerson, Lake and Palmer came out and they were amazing. They blew my mind. And towards the end of the show, Keith Emerson said, "We're going to do a song we've never done before. We just recorded it. And it's the story of an armadillo tank called Tarkus." And right then, my life changed. I left that concert knowing exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to be like Keith Emerson. I could hardly play at all in those days, but I just left knowing what I wanted to do. I couldn't stop thinking about the synthesizer and the sounds he made and his performance. And you flash to high school, and I'm in my band with Steve Lukather, and while I could not play like Keith Emerson, I thought maybe if I had a lot of keyboards like he did, that I could try to be like him. And my bandmates, Steve Lukather, Mike Landau, Carlos Vega, John Pierce, they wound up being the ones that had to help me carry my Hammond organ and all my keyboards and my borrowed synthesizers to all of our gigs. And they hated me for it, but I was starting to learn how to play synthesizers. When David Page and my brother Jeff Porcaro were putting Toto together, I don't think they really needed another keyboard player. But they had seen that I'd been learning, while I couldn't play like Keith Emerson, I was learning synthesizers. And they let me in their band. I think they thought I would come in handy. So tonight, I want to thank my brothers, Mike Porcaro, Jeff Porcaro. I want to thank David Page, my friend Andy Leeds, his brother Steve, and I want to thank them for taking me to see Keith Emerson, my hero, who we lost last night. You know, there's a lot I do not know, but I know if it was not for them taking me to that show, and if it was not for me seeing Keith Emerson and being inspired by him, that I would not be standing here tonight in Osaka, playing for you, doing what I love. I know that and I want to dedicate this entire Japanese tour to my brothers Mike and Jeff and Keith Emerson. And they took me to the Hollywood Bowl in 1971. And I still can't play like Keith Emerson, but I'm never going to stop trying. Thank you very much.
Once more for Steve Porcaro. And on we go. Hello, Osaka.
Emerson, Lake and Palmer came out and they were amazing.
There we go. Amazing. Hey, slight technical hitch there. How are we all doing?
Hey, all good.
Greetings.
Cool.
Greetings,
Hello.
everyone. Well, we are gathered here today to celebrate Tarkus, our favourite armadillo. So thank you very much for Diane for putting this together and asking us all to do this and organising it. Over to you, Diane.
Thank you very much, Paul. First, I want to say hello and welcome everyone to the celebration of the 50th anniversary of Tarkus. 50 years. How many people feel a little older? Please join me in giving a warm welcome to my very special guest, Tom Zaccalli, if I said that right. Zaccalli. There we go. Okay, thank you, Tom. A personal friend of Keith Emerson and keyboard player for Noddy's Puncher, the complete Emerson, Lake and Palmer experience. Hello, Tom. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Next we have Yes, you are Victor. Next, we have Ed Blaney, a lifelong ELP fan, bassist, and vocals for Naughty's Puncture. Then we have Frank Askew, who is the percussionist for Naughty's Puncture, also on a side note, the co-author of the book Emerson, Lake and Palmer, The Show That Never Ends.
Ooh.
Then we have Dave Derbyshire, a sound engineer and roadie for Naughty's Puncture. Next, we have Paul Belatovich. Did I do that good, Paul?
Close.
Okay. Belatovich, guitarist and vocals for Carl Palmer's Legacy Band. And the last but not least, we have Simon Fitzpatrick, which is bassist and Chapman stick. I'd like to know more about that for Carl Palmer's Legacy Band. And with that, I'd like to go and introduce Tom again. And Tom, why don't you start us off?
You want me to start you off? Okay.
Why not?
I thought it was going to be
Why
Frank.
don't you just go?
I
Oh, you want
wasn't
to go with
expecting
Frank
it.
first? We can do that. No,
Well,
let's go with Frank.
I'm going to bring
Simon.
Simon on screen so we can see him. So Simon,
Oh,
so
please.
Diana,
Cool.
I'm just
I'll
going to
see you
take you off
later.
quickly. Thank you very much, Di. See you in a bit. All right. Now we have Crowdcast is wonderful and it has many, many features. People watching over here on Crowdcast, please do submit your questions. It would be great if you could. If you do have any questions, there is a special Ask a Question section here. But one of the features is we can bring people on screen. One of the limitations is we can only have 6 people on screen at once. So while I just find Simon, I'm looking. There he is. I'm going to bring Simon on screen. We're just going to have to take it in turns a little bit so we can have so many people on screen. Okay, so I've invited Simon on the screen. He is coming now. So how are we going to get this thing started? Is it Frank you were going to start us off?
Looks like it, doesn't it? Yeah, I just thought it would be, first of all, happy birthday to Pictures at an Exhibition, because although Tarkus, we're celebrating its 50th, it's the 50th year that Tarkus, but Pictures at an Exhibition, of course, was 50 on Friday, I think. So happy birthday, Pictures at an Exhibition. But just a little bit about Tarkus. It was released in the UK on June the 14th, 1974, and it was the #1 album for ELP, the first #1 album in the UK. It was nice to hear Steve Porcaro of Toto there talking about how it influenced him as a keyboard player. And I think there's dozens of other keyboard players who could say the same thing. I know for a fact Jordan Rudess was one. And I think Eddie Jobson, I remember him, when I saw him live, he was talking about Keith, and he saw ELP in about 71, or early 70s. So I think maybe Tarkus was something that Eddie Jobson really looked to as a kind of it changed his life moment. I just wanted to read a review actually. At the time when it was launched, the wonderful Rolling Stone magazine, they did a review on it, and it's hilarious really, because I'll just read it out. It says, Tarkus records the failure of 3 performers to become creators, regardless of how fast and how many styles they can play. Emerson, Lake and Palmer will continue turning out mediocrity like Tarkus until they discover what, if anything, it is that they must say on their own and for themselves. I mean, I don't think we're celebrating Rolling Stone's critic 50 years later, but I just thought that was an incredible review. And yeah, I mean, and of course, they did have mixed reviews in those days. That was a problem. But yeah, when you think about records the failure of 3 performers to become creators, I mean, Tarkus.
Frank, that's almost a John Peel moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're a waste of electricity.
Time, talent,
Ways.
and electricity.
Another one I like was a mishmash of wibbly wobbly sounds was one of my favourites.
Simon!
Hey, Simon.
We got you on. Fantastic. Good to see you, Simon. How you doing?
God, I'm
Yeah, very well, thank you. Very well.
Good.
So yeah, that's really. I mean, I've got other bits, bobs. We can come back to those, but that was just a couple of things about Tarkus and the reviews.
When we were
Right.
talking about setting this up, and I'm no good at with ideas and stuff, but things were bandied around and about how Tarkus influenced you and when you first heard it and all that. So I had a little story I prepared that I thought you might like to hear. Should I carry on with that now?
Would love to. Yeah.
Well, I had basically all the LP albums. Pictures being my first next door neighbour introduced me to Pictures, and I copied it on an old reel-to-reel Grundig tape player. And then I got the first album I ever bought myself was Trilogy, and I had the first album, and I had brain salad surgery, and I didn't know nothing about Tarkus. I didn't even know it existed. And one Christmas, my elder sister must have looked through my record collection and seen it was missing. So I got Tarkus, the album, for Christmas. And when you have a memory of a certain event like a birthday or a Christmas, which is like stands out, I just couldn't believe. I think on the same Christmas we all got record players as well.
Right.
And I had a mono record player in the album, and that was it. I just disappeared.
Right.
I didn't join in with the festivities. I was in my bedroom. So yeah, that's my memory of that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, wait. Let's go through memories of first hearing the piece. I think that's a great idea. Anyone want to jump in?
Yeah. I've been sort of an ELP fan for as long as I can remember. This music kind of gets you through exams at school, and I remember that I memorised. You tend to do that. Memorise in your head. You listen to the album so much, and you can actually visualise all of the notes and play in your head a 20-minute piece. And I used to go to Chelsea as a kid playing football for the schoolboys. Go ahead.
Sorry.
And yeah, so the trip down was a train trip down, 3-hour trip, and just to pass the time, I would just memorise albums like Tarkus, and from the first minute to the last minute. Same with Brain Salad Surgery, but that's another story. But also been a fan since 72 when I first heard it, 73. And just listening to it with friends in people's houses when we were kids, and just really an amazing experience to hear this new music. That was my sort of first experience of the band, and the sounds they made were just alien, and I couldn't imagine how they would create those sounds, and it just blew your mind. And it's not until years later you find out about synthesis and what have you, and it all becomes clear.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I think when I first heard it, I heard the album, the live version first from the '74 Welcome Back album before I heard the studio. But it always amazed me, it was just 3 people making that sound, That was before I knew, it was a band called ELP, but I didn't know at the time that it was 3 people. I didn't know what ELP stood for, it was just, you should hear this by ELP. And then when it was told me it's just 3 people, you think, wow, that's amazing,
Yeah.
They kind of make a sound of an orchestra almost.
I think with lots of things like that, with albums like Tarkus, the first time you hear it, particularly if it is at the time, and I didn't. When I came to it, I put it as a classic. But I would imagine, lots of classics that I've heard for the first time before they're classics, just kind of, this is really good music, and you have no idea of how important it is going to be in the future. It's going to be thought of as something absolutely huge. It's just something you've discovered. That's a really exciting feeling, I think. The way that I discovered Tarkus was by Carl sending me a CD and say, "Learn this for the band. Play this on guitar." Okay then. So that was my first experience of it was one tinged with stress. What about you, Dave?
Well, it kind of mirrored a little bit what Frank said. I got into ELP from someone lending me a copy of Brain Salad Surgery. In those days, I used to copy off the record player onto an old Grundig reel-to-reel tape recorder like Tom, a TK121.
Mine was a 24.
Well, the thing is, being a mono recorder but off a stereo deck, it only recorded one channel. So, for instance, when I heard Still You Turn Me On, I never heard the wah guitar, because that's panned right out to one side.
Wow.
And it was only when I bought the album, suddenly it's like, what the heck's that? Where's that come from?
Right, funny.
But the second album I was lent was Welcome Back My Friends. So I heard the live version of Tarkus first. And then I went out and bought everything I could. Buy the Nice, buy ELP, etc. That was about 74-ish.
Right. Fantastic. So it was your introduction to ELP?
It was indeed, yeah.
Fantastic. And what an introduction. And what about you, Simon?
Yeah, I can't actually remember the first time I heard it. But I mean, like you, I was getting into prog and like Dream Theater and that kind of generation of bands, and was delving back into the old, the classics, like you say, and to discover, the older bands. But yeah, so really, first time I really appreciated it, like you, was whilst playing it with Carl.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always struck me as like kind of an archetypal prog song. Like if someone wants to know what prog is, then you can listen to that. And I think it also it still sounds. It doesn't sound old at all. It still sounds fresh to me.
Yeah.
It still hits you. Like it's new, like you guys are describing.
Yeah, definitely.
I think
You've got to appreciate the quality of the sound recording as well from the early 70s, and Eddie Offord's expertise. All of the sounds are just phenomenally good, well recorded and put together. The organ sounded fantastic. Greg Lake's voice was amazing. It's just a brilliant technical achievement at the time.
Yeah.
There's a particular Hammond sound as well on the Stones of Years solo, which I didn't think Keith kind of replicated on any other album. It's really, I don't know what you word, is it percussive, really clicky and percussive on the Stones of Years.
Yeah.
Tom will tell you.
Yeah, but no one's ever replicated. I mean, I don't even remember Keith replicating that sound exactly. It's the very opening part of his organ solo, which is
The sound on pictures gets close.
Yeah.
What that was Keith had a direct out of his percussion signal, and obviously he amplified that quite heavily separately.
Ah, right. We've got a lot of good comments coming in on Facebook. I don't know if you guys are following along on Facebook as well, but we've got Tom. Your discovery of Tarkus is a great story. I discovered it after the first few as well. Trilogy was my first. Lots of good stories coming in on through Facebook. Please keep them coming. And then, of course, here on Crowdcast, you can ask questions. Shall we dive into the music, guys?
Shall we?
Good idea, good call.
I think we should. I think we should do some playing.
Well,
Frank, or who wants to take us off? Tom or Frank, I would say.
Well, if we do the drums, only because Eruption, the drum pattern to Eruption was the very first thing that Carl gave to Keith. So before Keith thought of any of the keyboards or the tunes, it was the drum pattern that Carl came up with, said, can you do anything to this?
Right.
So if I was just going to kind of break that down.
Great.
So it's the time signature. You'll see some charts of Tarkus, keyboard charts. It's written in 5/4, but I know that from the drummer's perspective, and Carl talked about it in a 10/8 time signature. So there are 10 eighth notes to the sequence, and then that's subdivided into sort of a group of 4, 3, and 3. So I'm just going to play the snare drum and the bass drum before I add the cymbal, and just count it out and cover the 10 eighth notes subdivided. So it would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that's the 10, and that repeats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay. And then if you just up the tempo a little bit, you'll start to hear that sort of Tarkus feel, if you like. So that's, you can start to hear it now. And then the ride cymbal, there's no hi-hat in this, just the ride cymbal will play all of the 10 eighth notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That is 99.9% of what Carl actually plays, because
Wow.
I thought that was the groove to Tarkus when I heard it, and Carl told me, yeah, 10/8, go 4/3/3, and ba 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 ba, and I thought, I've got it. And then I used to, when we did his drum clinics, one of the sections within his drum clinic was a quiz, and he would talk about drum grooves. He's right, I'm going to do a quiz. I'm going to play a famous drum groove, and the first person to put their hand up in the audience, they can have a free T-shirt or a set of 6. And he would do about 3 or 4 grooves. Sometimes he would do non-Carl Palmer grooves. He would do Ticket to Ride or Rosanna or something like that. And I'd have to be looking in the audience. First hand goes up, throw him a T-shirt, and then he says, right, I'm going to do some of my own. And he started to play Tarkus. And I thought, I've got this. And he does this little grace note before one of the snare notes, which I never heard on the studio album. And it sort of goes 1, 2, 3. And that little grace note. And I can't unhear it now, because and I think it's really, really prominent in a Japanese YouTube clip, ELP in Japan, 72 YouTube clip. You can really hear that grace note. On the album, you can hear it, but it's very, very subtle. And I didn't know it existed until Carl played it in one of his drum clinics. But that's essentially the groove, the 10/8 groove. Cozy Powell, just for completeness on this, Cozy Powell played it in a double bass drum, so he would get all 10/8 notes going on the double bass drum. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So he would play double bass drum, and so did Tony Peer, who was Keith's drummer in 2008. If you watch the Live in Moscow, you can really hear that double bass drum going. So that is the groove to Tarkus or Eruption, and it's much faster live, as you guys probably know when you're playing. And when I play with Tom, he likes to up it a little bit as well. But,
And it's much faster after Carl's had a few espressos.
Indeed, yeah.
There's a lot to be said for espressos, I believe.
Yeah. That was great, Frank. That was really good. Raphael here, he has a prog radio station. And he just said that he played Tarkus on my radio show alongside the new Liquid Tension Experiment track and new Live Signs, and it did not sound dated at all. I think that is a pretty amazing achievement, isn't it, for something 50 years old?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the drum groove came first.
It did.
Uh,
And
and
said, "Oh,
then-
Keith, get on with it."
Yeah. So then Carl passed over to Keith.
Yeah.
So let us pass over to Tom to talk about what Keith did
Oh,
with
and I
it.
think just before Tom gets started, I think Carl told me that he wished he'd got a writing credit for it as well, because
And
he,
quite right too.
yeah, he didn't get the writing credit for it. So there you go. That's always one of
There
these
you go.
things. Down to you, Tom.
All
Yeah,
right.
So all I can say about that really, you were talking about on beats, weren't you, Frank?
The snare, yeah.
So I can't really analyse that mathematically. I just know that the 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, the 1 of 1, 2, 3, and the 1 of the second 1, 2, 3s. But all I can say is that I used to play it, like a lot of people play it, using the index finger. And I can't remember exactly where it was. Was it? I think I might have been in Emo's house. I can't remember. With the backstage on one of the tours. But he actually stopped me and got hold of my middle finger and said, "What's wrong with that?" So you're supposed to use that finger. So I relearnt it. So and it actually is quite. I found it easier once I'd relearnt it. So that's all I've got to say about that 5/4 riff or 10/8 riff.
If
But-
Keith Emerson says use your middle finger, you use your middle
Well,
finger.
yeah. Well, he actually same with Hoedown. He gave me the finger into Hoedown, and it's really weird. You wouldn't believe what he does.
Is that
But
right?
I relearned. Yeah, totally. Your piano teacher would tell you you do not put your thumb on that F sharp. You know.
Right,
But,
right.
So I relearned that as well. But I think that's why you can play it so fast on the. But did you know that on the you see. I love the album Tarkus, but I think, Paul, it was you said when you learnt Tarkus, and Carl said, "Did you learn this?" You were surprised how little Moog was on it, or Moog was on it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was. Yeah. It
Now,
was.
there is quite a bit of Moog on it.
Yeah.
I must say it right, Moog. I sometimes slip into Moog, but this is why I love the live album. You say, because he really upped the Moog.
Yeah.
on the
Right.
live album.
Yeah.
So when of course when we started playing it, there was little bits in the Stones Ears solo, and you think, well, hang on a minute, I like that little lick he does on the live one, you know. So it's got to go. Starts like that, but then there are little bits in the solo later on. You think, well, I'll just stick that one in there. And it sort of, I mean, I've been playing it that long, it's sort of ingrained now, it's set in stone. But what happens is you get these little riffs, and then you, because you're messing around on that bass, that descending bass line, you find a little riff of your own. So what I ended up doing was linking one of the studio album riffs, licks, with my own lick to a lick from the live album. You see, and I think it was in the Six Bells once. We were talking about this, and he sort of said, "Well, if you want to make it your own, you know," so I sort of kind of make it my own, you know. And the same happens in the Aquatarka synth solo as well. There's little bits where I don't actually play what, you know. There's maybe a little bar or 2 bars where I just quite like my own thing, and I'll throw that in. So you kind of make it your own. But do you know that on the actual Welcome Back, My Friends live album on Tarkus, that riff wasn't done on organ. He did it on Moog. He played the F on Moog. When it goes to C, he played it on Moog, and he only went back to the organ on the E. Yeah.
There we go.
So that's one to look out for. He doesn't actually
Yeah,
use the Hammond.
Yeah.
For that riff.
Well,
He uses. I think it must be the mini Moog, because he's probably playing
Right.
like that, isn't he?
right. One really interesting thing about. Oh my God! Can you guys hear that? Can you guys hear that?
Yeah, very well.
We can.
I am really sorry. I have no idea where that's coming from. Oh. It's coming from my other computer. That's where it's coming from.
Ah.
That is very. I apologise
You
about
have two
that, guys.
computers. Wow.
Yes,
Yeah,
I have.
I'm running guitar sounds on the other one. So yeah, one very interesting thing about that riff is what Jack wants to know what time signature that's in. One interesting thing about the Tarkus riff is obviously, I mean, 10/8. At that point, it's kind of, time signature from another universe type thing, isn't it? And Tarkus is from another universe, so it all makes sense. But what Keith did with the harmony of that is really interesting, because quick harmony lesson. So we've got in regular harmony, we use what's called thirds, and it's basically take every other note, or 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, etc. And you take every third note. So it is. Let me turn my organ off. So we get harmony like this, etc. Now, what Keith did for this is he did not work for that main riff in the world of tertiary harmony or harmony in thirds. He worked in the world of quartal harmonies, so harmony in fourths. So instead of playing chords such as this, just stacked up thirds, what he did is he took fourths out of the key and played fourths as chords instead. So that is our harmony of Tarkus. It is fourths. So you can hear that there. If you take that chord, it sounds very familiar. So that is exactly what it is. It's a quartal chord. And that's what's going on, which is just brilliant, especially to then turn it into this piece about a battle in another universe. It's just a brilliant mental jump, I think. So yeah, so I mean, it creates all sorts of problems playing it on guitar. I can, and obviously it wasn't originally played on guitar, but Greg did play it on bass, didn't he, Simon?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, and it's a really tricky riff on bass, especially I think for bassists who are less used to doing the intricate sort of fiddly stuff that you guys enjoy. But yeah, Greg, I guess because he came from the world of guitar, he was an accomplished guitarist first, and learned alternate picking alongside Robert Fripp with the same guitar teacher who taught them really strong technique, which he transferred over to bass. So when I actually do the Tarkus riff, I don't even do the picking version because it's hard to do.
Neither do I.
I make life hard. Yeah, so I do it with tapping, because Greg, like Paul was saying, Greg is doing it like this, and it's because you're jumping across 4 different strings and you're changing string every time. It makes it really difficult to hit the notes fluidly and accurately. So I just play it, and you can sort of easily play it as fast as Carl does when he does it live, or at the speed they recorded it at. Yeah, so I mean, what I also find interesting about Greg's technique on bass is that he rarely actually uses it. I find he's quite impressively restrained on a lot of what ELP does, which is probably partly so he can sing over it. But even when he's not singing, he's good at leaving a lot of space. I think. I think he's quite aware of not, treading on anyone's toes and trying to do too much. So for someone who's got that. He had that technique. Yeah, it's the best of us find it difficult to restrain ourselves, but he obviously did that well a lot of the time, playing tastefully.
I think one thing there is it just seems to come so effortless to him, and if it is effortless, maybe it's easier to be be more self-restrained. But because like we're gonna after this show, we are gonna watch the Tarkus performance from Japan, and he plays that riff, and it's just so effortless. He's not even breaking a sweat. He's not even looking at his hands.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
think
saw an interview, where he was talking about it, and he just says, you just repeat the same thing enough times, and it becomes easy.
Right.
I guess he, he's put the time in.
I think it's fascinating that you mentioned Don Strike, Greg's guitar teacher, because his list of pupils is pretty damn impressive. Because not only was it Greg Lake, it was Bob Fripp, who's an icon, Gordon Haskell, you could get that, but also Andy Summers and Al Stewart.
Oh wow!
Right.
So you think of a guitar teacher that's picked up that many great guitarists.
Yeah.
He must have been something special.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, Ed, you also play the bass part for it, right?
I do, yeah, but as Simon has said, it's really difficult to sort of to pick it with the plectrum, because Greg played plectrum style. So me being a guitar playing bassist, guitar is my first instrument. I just picked up the bass because it was a requirement to join the band.
Does anyone pick up bass for any other reason?
Yes. So in trying to get to grips with the riff, I come from a classic background, and finger picking is more natural to me. So I play it with just in the same way as the same pattern as Greg does, but with just with fingers instead of plectrum. And I find that I get by with that. And basically, you're just following Tom's left hand.
Yes. Yeah, it is all about...
So if you drop a note out, you're all right. You're covered.
Well, a bass player would get away with.
Yeah.
It is all about it's all about accenting those
Someone
important notes.
mentioned on the messages that later on Greg got a little lazy and he used to play just the outline of that riff, the on-beat notes, which if you'd noticed some performances in later years, he did sort of just take it easy a little bit and played an abridged version of it.
Okay. Yeah. Carl does not take it easy at all. I think Greg took the opposite approach of Carl. Yeah.
Actually, just going back to the drums, if Nigel Hewittson's watching, he wanted to learn the Tarkus groove, and I sent him a little video clip. And if he's watching, I'd just like to know how he's getting on with
cool.
so we can ask Nigel. So if you're there, Nigel, let us know.
Cool. I don't see him. And somebody did have a specific question for Tom, actually, but it was about a run that comes up later. I'll try and catch it. But let's continue with these. So, let's continue along. What do you think, guys?
Yeah. Do you think it might be a good time to bring Diane in for some questions? So she might want to ask.
Absolutely.
She might want to ask. She might want to ask different things of different musicians and how they approach playing what they play and their style. Especially you two guys with Carl.
It's going to cost one. It's going to cost one of you your screen.
I don't mind that.
Are you sure, Ed?
She can come up on my screen.
All right. I'll give you the chop, and I'll bring Diane up then. Di, if you could just say hi in the chat, and then there I see you straight away. Let's bring her back up. All right. While we wait for her to come up, we have got a few questions here in Crowdcast, and first one is from Nectaria, and this from Nectaria for you, Tom. Tom, would you be able to tell us how Keith Emerson got involved with Spinal Tap?
As far all I know is he played on that album. What was it called now? The one with Heavy Duty on it.
Break Like the Wind, is it?
I think so. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
given a copy. I can't remember the name. He was asked. I think what Spinal Tap do is they have guest artists, don't they?
Yeah, right, okay.
And he's good mates with the chap who played keyboards, and I forget his name now. C.J. Vanston.
Right.
And obviously Emo got asked to play on a heavy duty track, and then they were playing in Wembley,
As you do.
as they do, yeah. And I got an email off him telling me the story about I was asked to play on the Spinal Tap's album, blah blah, the gigging, blah blah. Can you find me a Hammond L100 to trash?
Ah.
So I was using this split one, which is down here. It has to be split because I'm in my basement here,
Right.
to get it down the stairs. But I wanted another one anyway. What I wasn't going to cut in half, and
Right.
and basically I thought, well, yeah, and I knew of a guy I used to work with who had one, so I got hold of it, and I was kitting it out, getting it ready for the gig, which was in 2009 beginning of July, I think. I don't know the exact date, and I was actually on my motorcycle going out to get some parts about 3 or 4 weeks before the gig, and I was sideswiped by a van, ended up in hospital with a very nearly amputated left foot.
Oof.
So yeah, and basically he sent me. He wasn't really worried about whether he'd get his Hammond or not. He was more concerned about me, who was sending me presents in hospital and stuff.
Oh.
But I got out of hospital, and I shouldn't have left the house really under doctor's orders. But and ended up finishing the Hammond off and going down. And I've got some photographs of me actually in plaster. Went to the gig in plaster
Right.
with all my spurs, and he played with Spinal Tap at Wembley
Wow,
because
very
he'd
cool.
played on their album. So
Yeah. Amazing.
that's the story basically.
And that, of course,
Fantastic.
is the same Hammond that you use live, isn't it, Tom?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
okay,
in the-
right.
It's in the trailer in the garage upstairs at the moment, and
Right.
it needs checking out sometime. See if it still
Right.
works.
Diane, welcome back, my
Hi,
friend.
thank you, Paul. Hey, I had a couple of questions actually.
Fantastic.
Paul, I don't think you talked about your history with Tarkus. Did I miss that?
My history with Tarkus, I just said that the first time I heard it was when Carl asked me to learn it. Now, when we were first learning it, it was actually an abridged version. We just did all of the instrumental stuff, and then it's been since Simon's been in the band that me and Simon have basically put together. We put together the instrumental arrangement first, didn't we? With all of the kind of the guitars playing melodies and things like that, and then we take it into the rehearsal room with Carl, and he chops bits down and says do this with this sound and things like that. And then recently we've added vocals to it. So, although wait a minute, we've not done it with vocals live, have we? Oh yeah, we have. Yeah. Yeah. Which is a great time for a quick plug, actually. Me and Simon are going to be doing next Sunday. This time next Sunday, we are in all of the same places. We are going to.
Oh, he disappeared.
He's plugging. He's plugging.
Good.
He's
Okay.
transformed.
Oh,
There you go. So
Mr.
yeah,
Wizard, there you are.
yeah. I just realised my audio disappeared then. So I do have a link for that if people want to tune in. So same time next week we will be performing a transatlantic version of Tarkus via Zoom. So,
Aquatarkus
sorry,
will be
That
swimming
sounds very exciting.
under the Atlantic.
exactly. Exactly.
That sounds really exciting, Paul. I
Yeah,
can't wait
yeah,
for
it'll be
that.
great. It'll be great.
That would be really great. And Tom.
Yep.
I would really love it if you could share with everybody the first time you met Keith.
The first time I met Keith, Well, I'd been to his house a few days before, and his mum was babysitting because Keith was away at Jim Davidson's wedding, and his mum told me to come back. He's not here. Come back on Thursday, and I basically went back on Thursday and walked up the drive. And as I was walking up the drive, I could hear a car behind me come through the gates, and it was Keith. And he got out and he said, "What do you want?" You know, and I just sort of said, you know, I came. Has your mum not told you? I came a few days ago. And he said, "Oh no, I've just come back and I have to go straight out again." He's not seen his mum, so he didn't know. He didn't know anything about it. So I just had a quick chat with him in front of his house at Stonehill, and gave him a few cassettes and told him I was an ELP fan, and did he fancy coming out for a beer or something? And he just said, "Do you know where the Six Bells is?" I said, "Yes." And he said, "I'll see you in there tomorrow lunchtime." So we spent about 2 or 3 hours having lunch and having a chat in the Six Bells.
Fantastic.
And that was it, really. I just knocked on his door and said, "You coming for a beer or what?"
Proper stalker.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Lee Jackson calls. He told Lee Jackson, "That's my stalker." Yeah.
And Tom, were you going to play a little bit of Tarkus?
I was going to have a little play of a little bits. Yeah. Well, I thought there was other things before. I've got some notes here, but I mean, I'll just. Did you know? We're talking Moog here, yeah. So we were talking about the Moog on the studio, and I made a little note here. I don't know if I can actually do an example of each one, but the Moog has presets, or Keith's does, mine doesn't, and I counted. If you listen through Welcome Back, if it was a preset synth, you'd say he's changed his sound 15 times. Can you believe that? 15 times. Now, not all of those will be a push of a preset button. You'd get to a sound, and then you turn some knobs, it becomes another sound. So even taking that into account, where I can identify is on the same sound, that's still 12 times. Well, actually not 12, because one of them's going to the Mini Moog for the bass. So which is on the other side. But I mean, I could go through them. I've not rehearsed this. I've not tried this. But
Yeah, let's hear some examples. I want to hear some synth.
I'd love to.
yeah. So
Yes, I'd love
Right,
got
to.
I'm going to make you full screen, Tom. The stage is yours.
Excellent.
you got the. That's your first. Yeah. And then after that one, you've got the which is the second one now. The preacher said a prayer.
Yeah.
One, and then after that, he goes into his ribbon thing, doesn't he? So. And all that, but then of course when he comes out of that, you'd think he would switch back to, yeah, but he doesn't. He carries on the da 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 on the sound which comes out of the ribbon. I think. Where have I got my notes? Yeah, I think he uses the ribbon sound. It doesn't actually switch, and. Yeah, that's so. Then you've got the guitar bit with Greg, and then after that, I'm getting confused here. Now. After that, what have you got? You've got all the. I've written mini bass here. Oh yes, for the mini Moog bass for the yeah. For the what's it called? Battlefield, yeah. So he plays bass on that, doesn't he?
Right, yeah.
And then after that, you've got what Ed's going to demonstrate, the King Crimson thing. And then after that, you've got the you've got the fourths thing, haven't you? You got the. Now that would be one where he uses a preset but then modifies it on the fly, because when that sound changes, he doesn't press a button, you see. So yeah, so you got the fourth. That becomes like unison, and then it's a case of. Now again, you're turning knobs there, but what you've got to remember is
So good.
What you've got to remember
That
is
was
that
awesome. Yeah.
Keith had the presets, but a lot of times he would override the preset. Now I'm actually
Right.
building myself a preset box at the moment, so I know how it works. I've actually halfway through built this Moog. I've got two Moogs. I've got a smaller System 15, and I'm going to build a preset box for that, with the view to maybe putting one on here as well. I've just got so used to turning, flicking switches and stuff. I've installed switches and things. But Keith just had basically. He started off with one preset box, and obviously they got cards in, and then on some photographs later on, he had a second preset box, but none of them are on the photographs are full of cards. So I think the maximum he would have had is 14 at the time. At the moment, the one that's in the place in America has only got I think it's got 10 presets, which is what the amount I'm going to have. So throughout the 70s, he had the maximum of 14, I think. But they weren't all live. But to say that he had all these, it's like what did he do? How did he do it? It's like you can only guess really. So basically, he changes the sound. I mean that bit where. You got that bit, and then it goes. There's like a cue in there. And then you got that feedback, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And after that, he gets the drone going, doesn't he? Which is I've got Ed's bass pedals here, which is when we play live. I have this drone going. When we do this, I have this drone going. But if you listen, it disappears. So Ed's playing bass. He also has another drone, which if you listen to two. I'm doing that with my foot. So mine disappears in and out, and Ed periodically hits that. And then I get Frank to sometimes make me some drum loops to get this effect going. So I'm doing all this on my own at the moment. Normally I've got a band to do this. Then you got the. So at this point, it's a good time to have a drink of wine or something. See? And then I would switch over to. I'll sometimes try and hit that. My own bit. And there, Keith did those stumps. Versus Paul's Frank. There's a thing going on here. There's with the glide on this Moog. Can you hear that sort of? He got that. You can hear that on the album, can't you?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hello?
Can I just say
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
the chat is going wild, Tom.
Yes, it is. And I just
Oh,
want to say
come
thank
on,
you.
come on.
I'm not finished
Oh,
yet.
that was awesome.
It's all
No,
right. You
no,
can
you're
keep,
not.
we're not
But
going to
there's a-
stop you either.
There's
Another
a
hour
thing.
to
I'm
go.
not.
There's a thing you see with the glide, and it's the modular glide. It's called exponential glide. Now Keith went. Well, I would have gone. You know what I mean? He said make it your own, didn't he? You know, it's good if you.
Yeah.
So I would
absolutely.
I would actually do. You know what I mean? There's a drone there. basically.
Don't leave us hanging.
No,
Amazing,
no, no.
Tom.
But
Amazing.
did you hear the bit where the sound changes and you got the modulation and it goes from the
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it all goes all the way down. You know when it goes like to the bottom, it goes. Well, I flick in that sound because it comes down with that sound. If I carried on with that, it'd be. But I flick in the second bank, and it sounds like what Emo does there. He plays the two Moogs, the mini Moog, and I don't carry another mini Moog over there, so I just flick this in. So I go. It sounds like two, so I cheat
Right.
that way. But I just
Fantastic,
thought I'd explain that.
fantastic.
That is
Mark-
absolutely
Mark Obi.
fantastic, Tom.
Mark here on Crowdcast said you're the most talented stalker ever.
And the thing is that, you see, I get Frank to record me these when we hook up online, because we obviously live hundreds of miles apart. He drums a little loop for me, and I practice the stuff like this, you see. So I had this idea, because usually when I'm playing this to people, it all turns to crap, you see, because I'm going, and you're trying to go, you know. And then, you know, you fall apart and that. So I thought, I'll just have a drum loop going. So I think it
Perfect,
kind of worked,
perfect.
didn't it?
It was great, yeah, absolutely,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was awesome.
What I would
fabulous.
love to see, Tom, is a kind of a how you would put together one of those sounds. Just pick maybe a complex sound, and could you strip it right back to basics and tell us exactly what you're tweaking with oscillators or putting it into
Well, a good
something?
one.
Would that be an easy thing to
A
do?
good one for that would be that change. You know what I was talking about?
Yeah.
He has only so many presets. Well, I mean, in the space of about 10 seconds, you'd think he'd have gone through about 3-4 presets. But
Right,
obviously
right.
he doesn't.
Right.
Because you see, the way the preset box works is
Yeah.
basically these envelope generators, they all need turning up full.
Right.
All the knobs want turning up full, and then basically when Emo pressed the preset button,
Yeah.
there would be resistors. Because obviously, if you know about resistance, if you've got a low resistance and you're on minimum, and the
Yes.
preset box wants a higher resistance, the lower
Yeah.
resistance takes over. So
Right.
Emo's envelope generators all had to be turned up fully clockwise.
Okay.
The preset box would take over because all settings would be below that.
Right.
Yeah? Yeah.
Yeah.
And if Emo wanted to change something, he would then adjust. But then when he messed with things, he
Yeah.
had to make sure that everything was put back. There was
Right.
a certain mode, you see. So
Right.
you've got that thing for the fourths, which I've got. So I've got this. I cheat because I've got switches. So rather than turn knobs,
Right.
I can have. So I've built these things myself. So just.
Yeah.
I'm so used to it. So
Yeah.
basically, you've got that. There you go. Every time, that's another story as well. Whenever you start Tarkus, you're on stage and you look at the modular and you go, everything needs to be set. And invariably, you start the thing and you're going, shit, I've not done that. so you're thinking, right, where can I actually get a free hand just to rectify it? And the places are Frank's Gong or the cowbells and stuff, you know. But that happens all the time. It just happened now. I forgot to set this back for the.
Right. Yeah.
So there. What I've got is 2 oscillators, and I've
Right.
got one of them tuned to a fourth down.
A
Yeah.
fourth down, right? Okay.
Yeah. That's unison now. So
Okay.
that's
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, actually, when I say 2 oscillators, for fatness, I have actually 2 oscillators there, so I can go. And then here, I've got
Right.
this. That's like actually, that's one I built myself. That's a single oscillator, but I've added it and it's in unison. And
Yeah.
then I can set the volume.
Right.
Yeah. Now then,
Yeah.
here's my filter and my resonance are waiting. So the resonance can be up slightly because the filter's up full, and I can go. And and my hand's on the fourth switch, so I can quickly
Right.
override it for. So I'm going. And now, resonance.
Wow.
And you got to constantly
Wow.
play. You got to play those knobs all
So,
the time. you see.
so with that last sound, nothing changed other than that one resonance knob.
Resonance up, which is
Yeah.
halfway up already, because once you and the filter down. So
Right.
you got basically that's your filter. That's opening your any synthesist will actually know opening the filter, closing the filter totally, you'll get rid of it. Yeah. So
Right.
when it's fully open, bright as sound, you've got that.
Yeah.
Like three oscillators, you know. And then quickly, and you got like half a beat. But then your envelope generators have got to be up here beforehand, you see. Otherwise, it'll just go. I mean, there's one bit where it goes further on in the solo. It goes into that. Well, on that flick, me and Frank have an interplay, because Frank does the flams, rum, 2, 3, 4, rum, and that gives Ed time, because Ed uses the synth module with the foot pedals. I've got my back to the guys, and all I can see is Frank over my right shoulder. I'm going like this. And actually, you can milk it because it's interesting, rum, and then Ed will give Frank the nod when he's changed his synth module for the foot pedals. Frank will then give me the nod, and then I'll be going, and I'll go 1, 2, 3, or mouth it, and I go. But you don't see them. You don't see them things happening because it's just between us. But now you know.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah. So that's how you can
Excellent.
just change, Yeah.
I think the thing I love about an analog synth like that is it's such a tactile and human instrument.
Yeah.
And none of those sounds, unless they're presets, none of those sounds will be exactly the same every time because there's going to be a slight difference in where you set it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very organic sounding, isn't it?
It lives and breathes.
Yeah,
and
for
I
sure.
forgot one thing I forgot to demo is when we go into the we've done all that and then we're going to that. That bit. Well, obviously Greg, you can hear him on bootlegs where he actually uses a fuzz on that, and he doesn't always get the feedback. The feedback happened on the Welcome Back My Friends recording, but it's it's really nice. So we try and recreate that, and of course Ed does a fuzz thing and maybe tries to get it to feedback. Might not always happen, so I've got a bit of a sound effect. So at that point, just before Frank starts the jungle rhythm, so we go, and again you can milk that, and then. And I go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it's, and I have a sound effect like that, and then Frank, and then I introduce my, and then Ed will go. So we kind of build it up that way, yeah. But I've got this sound effect for where the feedback would be. I've got this. Just where that, just to do something where Greg gets that feedback. Yeah, so you try and recreate these little nuances. It might not sound identical, but it's there. Something happens at that point.
Yeah. Right. Well,
Amazing, isn't it?
yeah, really. I mean, I think it's fantastic to hear these demonstrations. I know Ed was going to do some demonstrating as well. Shall we bring Ed on and get him to do something? Great. Dave, do you mind if... Oh, shall I take you off, Diane?
Yes, you can go ahead and do that.
Okay, great, thanks.
Sit down.
All right, has anybody got... well, while I bring Ed on, let's just have one question. Wait a minute. Mark's asking you, Simon. The big question is, does Simon have his stick back yet? Go on then, tell us the stick story.
The big answer is no, I don't have it back yet. It's been with the repairman since last June, I think. It's gotten to the point of being beyond a joke, really. But
So this is your Chapman stick, right?
yeah, the Chapman stick, which I normally play Tarkus on, and which I use, to try and imitate, nowhere near obviously what we just heard, but to imitate some of the keyboard sounds. But there's a problem with the pickups, which I sent in to have to be fixed, and the repair guy hasn't been able to work out what's wrong with them. But I am ordering a new one, so pickup that is. So it should be back in business soon.
Phew.
But don't hold your breath.
Weren't you saying that on
said
this
that a long
date
time
last
ago.
year?
Yeah, my stick is in lockdown, but
Socially distancing.
yeah.
Welcome, Ed.
Hi. Nice to be back. Thanks, Tom. That was we've heard Tom play Aquatarkus so many times, but it still reaches the parts of the synths can't reach.
Thank you, Ed.
It does.
But before Aquatarkus begins, we've got Battlefield, and it's Greg's song, and the what I like about it is, especially the live version, is when Greg included the King Crimson bits, and it was a bit of a masterstroke, using Epitaph in the song as well. So what I like to do is just a little bit of light relief from people's innards being rearranged by the Moog. And I know a lot of people have commented on that, how incredibly the bottom end of the modular is, and how it can affect your hearing. And even the top end, people have been complaining about cats having a bad time with it. So
Funny you should say that, Ed, in terms of like the light relief. I do feel like that was very, very well thought out in ELP. So you had all of this going off on these kind of avant-garde, out of key jams, out of key on purpose, of course, and just going off on synth sounds for ages, but then it would come back to the prettiest, most melodic song, and that is really what made ELP great, I think.
yes, coming out of just before Battlefield begins, you have this chord sequence, such as a discordal chord sequence, really weird. I don't know how you managed to do that on electric guitar, but it just sounds so strange. And then it gives way to the lovely chords in Battlefield, and it's quite a nice counterpoint to the weird sort of chord structures that Emo sort of picked and selected. But it goes out of that, and I'll try and do a little bit of Battlefield for you if you don't mind.
Fantastic, thanks.
All the profit from our victory. You talk of freedom, starving children fall. Are you deaf when you hear the seasons call? torch. Though the leaves of sorrow turn their face, scattered on the ashes of disgrace. Every blade is sharp, the arrows fly, where the victims of your armies lie. Where the blades of grass and arrows rain, then there'll be very little sorrow, very little pain. Confusion will be my epitaph as I cross a cracked and broken path. If we make it, we can all sit back and laugh. Battlefield.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Can I just add that while Ed does that confusion bit, I usually go. And add the wind. That's when we do it live, yeah.
Very cool.
Bit of atmosphere, yeah.
Bit
And
of
then
confusion.
Emo did do that on certain boots. Not every
Right.
time, but he did actually do that.
Right.
So you pick up on that, you think, right, we'll add that.
Yeah, yeah, great. So is that based on a specific live performance?
It's on the Welcome Back.
Yeah,
live.
the
That's the welcome back version, yes,
That's
yes.
the welcome back
it's just
version, right.
Battlefield with Epitaph bolted onto the end of it. But we did Tarkus, infamous version of Tarkus. It's Keith Emerson's memorial gig down in Birmingham, on Symphony Hall in Birmingham.
Yeah.
And we ran out of time basically. But one really sort of special moment for me was when it was this kind of my sort of spot to do Battlefield, and just to sing the confusion, and Dave got the delays right, confusion, dun, 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 dun. And it rang out into the hall. The hall was just deadly silence.
Wow.
With 200 or 2,000 demo fans in there, and it was just a really sort of a moment to remember, and a sort of a really sort of it's a strange sort of feeling. It's a strange feeling to have that much silence and that much emotion, because we'd lost Greg as well. So that was, and Greg's wife was in the audience as well. So it was a bit of a special moment for me, and I enjoyed that. Enjoyed doing that.
Yeah, great. Well, speaking of getting the delays right and mixing, Dave, do you want to talk to us about what goes on in mixing a piece like Tarkus? You just set the faders and walk away and have a beer, right? That's
Yeah, generally, yeah. to be honest, obviously, with a band like Noddy's Puncher or ELP, everything is going on at once. And in particular, I mean, you saw when Tom was playing then, he's changing sounds on the fly. The volume of the synth varies tremendously. He might have the filter more closed down on some occasion. I'll boost it on the fader, and I'll see Tom also at the same time looking for the window when he can move up to the keyboard and open it up a little bit more and bring up the balance on that keyboard, so I'm ready to bring that fader down again. So
Right.
It's all go all the time. On the organ, I've got 3 different feeds. Tom spoke earlier that part of MO's key sound was the percussion drawbars fed out to a different valve amp direct. So I've actually got 3 faders just on the one Hammond organ. One is the percussion, the next is the Leslie sound, of course, and the next is the Selmer valve amp going out to 2B12. And again, depending on the part within the piece, then we balance those accordingly. But the bits that I really love are like Aquatarchus, when the synth solo, as Tom was just demoing there, is flying around the place. Then I get the chance to be a little bit crass with the pan pedal and swing it around the hall a little bit. But also, when the fast keyboard lines are going, then I'll dial back the reverb. But when you've got the deep bass and the sweeps from low to high, then I'll boost up the reverb, and it really fills the hall. And it's a kind of real privilege to be behind the desk when all that's going on. One of the crucial things about Noddy's, obviously, is that it's all the authentic gear that they use. It's not presets on a keyboard. It's not presets on a laptop. It's a bloody heavy 1968 modular Moog synth, a equally heavy L100 Hammond, and just for fun, 3 Leslie speakers, because one is never enough. We do remember the gig at the Courts Theatre in Wigan, which is a splendid theatre, splendid place on the 3rd floor. And when no lift, when we did the load-in, they had a helpful guy with this kind of caterpillar stair climbing device that beautifully took all the heavy gear right up to the 3rd floor. That was great. But when the gig was over, he was in bed. He'd gone home. Nobody was allowed to use the caterpillar lift because it was health and safety. So we had to lug all that gear down 3 flights of stairs, which is all part of the experience. Really good fun. Another quite amusing tale was there was one gig where we did, the guys did, 2 nights back to back in the Six Bells, MO's old local in Chiddingly. And it was already a little exciting because when we were originally setting up, the power amp for the monitors died. And in dying, it also took out the monitor channels on the mixing desk. Now, any gig without monitors would be a challenge for any 3-piece band. When they're playing ELP's music and in a straight line in a pub, then it would have been impossible. On the fly, we managed to lash together out of a small mixer that I had, a monitor channel to save the day, which was great. But what you might not realise is Tom's a perfectionist. It comes across in all the stuff that he just showed you there. And after every gig, you think you've got everything right, Tom will come up and he'll say, "Didn't really hear that gong in the middle of Tarkus. Are you sure you were right on the fader then, And I'm going, "Yeah, Tom, it was there. Tom, it was there. Don't worry about it. The guys heard it." So the second night, I'm thinking, Tom's got to hear that gong. I've got to get it right. My reputation sits on this one. So I pushed the fader and I pushed it up and it hit the gong, and unfortunately I'd over-egged it a little bit. It was the loudest gong. You could hear it in Manchester, and we were in Sussex. And the first line of the audience let back about 6 foot. So this
Three
is
Leslie speakers, because what?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the other thing is, as you kind of saw from Tom playing those parts there. I mean, I've been involved doing the sound for 9 years now. I've known Tom 20 years. But it's like a real privilege to be that close to the music, to hear every note, to hear the subtleties that Frank puts in, the subtlety that Ed puts in. I mean, I grew up with ELP. I love it, soundtrack of the life and all that kind of stuff. But to hear it being played at close quarters and hear out where every note is coming from, that's a real privilege. So that's good fun.
Dave's a keyboard player himself as well,
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's good to have a fellow keyboard and synth enthusiast.
Yeah.
Dave comes with me when I take this thing on synth shows and synth meets. Dave comes with me, and we're both well into synths and stuff. So it's great to have somebody like that helping you out as well.
Fantastic.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I suppose it gives me a chance to second guess what you're thinking.
Yeah.
But yeah, and we have a new ambition, don't we, Tom? For at some point in the future.
Yes, I'm building
which
it
is
now
one
for
of
Dave.
one of the things that was special that I've read about, because I was never lucky enough to see it. I only saw ELP live in '92 with the Black Moon tour. But one of the things that was special was the experimenting with quad sound, and the thought of quad and Aquatarkus and synth solo, not to mention Carnival 9 third impression. So Tom and I are cooking up a cunning plan to put Moddy's Puncher.
Currently building
into
it,
quad.
and I'm going to make it so that all we have to do is take a small PA system to another venue that have their own PA, and we can add it as long as you have a group out on a desk. I'm building a box whereby you can feed anything to that group out, and on this box you can either switch it to the fixed rear speakers. So let's say you could have Ed singing a ballad with his vocals coming out the main PA and the guitar coming out the back of the room. Or you can feed it to the rear speakers, which has an auto pan on it, which you can set the speed of. So you can just have it at the back of the room going left to right. Or the third mode is it'll just cut to all 4 speaker columns in the corner, and you can control the speed and clockwise or anti-clockwise. And I was testing it out this afternoon, actually. Yeah. So I'm building that for Dave.
Can you imagine the fun
Amazing.
that we can have with this?
Yeah, this is going to be amazing. Absolutely. Yeah, fantastic.
So I'll be able to get the audience to jump with the sound of a gong in all directions at once.
All towards
Get
each
them
other
to
in the
jump
centre.
centre.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I just demo one last thing which I forgot?
Please do.
One thing about listening to Tarkus and all, a lot of people must listen to these bootlegs. The ones that are really horrible quality, but you still manage to listen through them because you want to hear what he does. Basically, the quality doesn't matter. It's just I want to hear what did he change, what new thing did he play, what new riff did he play, and when you listen to those over the years, you can see what was going through his head and how it grew and it developed. And I just like the things where he sort of that glide down at the end of the ribbon section, and he does all the ribbon, and then he goes, "Oh yeah." And he sticks it into that spring reverb. I just love it.
Right. And that wasn't there. He wasn't always doing that. That was something that was developed as he went along.
Yeah. I mean, he does it on the pictures video, the Lyceum video. He does it, so it's an effect. But you can see how he added. That's just one example of things that weren't there earlier, and then they and you can just see how he was. He must have gone home and gone to a hotel thinking, tomorrow I'm going to try that. The way things developed and grew.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how it was in ELP, but I know Carl, Simon can attest to this, but Carl is constantly working on sounds with us, isn't he? Every single sound check is just not so much notes, not so much parts, but sounds. Just tweaking with sounds, and it makes me think that's probably something he learnt from the days of ELP, where they were constantly changing things, experimenting. But yeah, every single sound check we do, when we think we've got the set nailed, nope. We are working on sound, and the first show of a tour, sound-wise, will be very different from to the last show of a tour.
Yeah, and I was going to say, when Dave was talking about perfectionism with the sound, there's always numerous things Carl's picking up on that the sound guy's doing or not doing. But he'll want, a little fade in here or there, or kind of various reverbs and effects that he's always specifically listening out for, just to get it just right, so it's perfect every time. But yeah, I agree. Yeah, I guess he's always just wanting to improve and change and keep going. Which also chimes in with his personality, I think.
Yeah.
Because he's always trying to keep up with what's new and everything new coming out.
Yeah, talking about the Soundman is very much the fourth member of the band. It would be tough. We used to do it, but it would be really tough to do a show with an in-house sound guy, because they need to have learnt the set.
Yeah. Well, sometimes we go to venues where they say, no, our in-house soundman's doing it. So then we have to get Dave to stand with him and tell him what's happening.
We work a partnership.
Yeah, of course, Dave might not be familiar with the digital desk or something, so it works both ways. So Dave will advise, saying, this is coming up, that's coming up. He'll fill him in beforehand, and then so they work together. But yeah, you're right. You need your own soundman who knows it inside out. Yeah.
It's just not a case of riding faders all night. It's just not a case. You need to know the content of the music you're working with. Otherwise, it just doesn't happen. You need to have that inside knowledge and every little nuance that all three musicians brought to the sound.
Yeah.
So important.
For sure. Frank, have you got anything else?
Frank's been quiet for a while.
Yeah, let's hear some drums.
Yeah. So there's a couple of sections in Tarkus which might be worth looking at. So there's a section called Iconoclast, which brings back the 10/8 rhythm, similar to Eruption, but it's actually played on the drums rather than on the three different on the snare, bass, and cymbal. It's played on the studio version. He plays it on the toms here, so it'd be that 10/8 pattern. So. On the live album, he plays it on the snare drum on the Welcome Back, which I think sounds great, sounds really tight. So it's the same thing. And he does a with the feet, so a slightly different foot pattern. But it goes into mass, and I know you want more cowbell, so. That repeats it quite a bit in mass. And then the other interesting section is Manticore, which is in kind of a 9/8. I mean, I count them in threes. It's quite like an Irish jig. Diddle 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 diddle.
Yeah.
I'm not sure of the exact sticking, but it's about. And that's a nice few stops and starts and answer and response, call and response. And I should have done this for you, Ed, just before Battlefield. That's it. Oh, we worked that out. And then Aquatarchus is totally different, isn't it? The studio to the live. The studio is sort of that. But then, of course, it evolves, doesn't it? And the live version, we've got a kind of snare drum. That's a very Carl thing, that sort of. So there's that, and then it goes into that jungle rhythm that I did the loop for on the live version. That sort of. And that goes on for about 3 weeks. We play that for. So we finish that by Wednesday, and then it returns into the kind of reprise of Eruption, almost the end of Tarkus.
Oh, at the end of that, what I played, you know the.
Signpost.
Yeah, you know that, and I had the. You might have wondered why I do it twice, because Emma only ever did it once. It's like you know. I think it was. Whatever. We sat down. Anyway, I do it twice because on the second time round, it gives me time to have a look round and see whether anything needs looking at. You know, because if you go. And if something, something I developed, I thought I'll do it twice. I had a mate of mine once at a gig say to me, "Why? I spotted your mistake. You did it twice." I said, "No, I did it twice on purpose. It's like a buffer, you know, just to scan whether everything's ready for the end bit."
Interestingly, there are on the studio version there are 17 edits, so they couldn't play the whole thing all the way through. And I mean, maybe Carl's told you this, but he told me there were 17 edits. Now, some are obvious, but I would think anyway. But some of them, I wouldn't know where they are. But I know he said I couldn't finish on a cymbal because when they cut the tape, you know, the cymbal would, the decay of the cymbal would die off, would be cut short. So, but yeah, 17 edits. So when you listen to Tarkus, the studio version, we're thinking, right, I wonder if that's an edit. Some are obvious, but when you think there's 17 of them, because they couldn't play at that early stage, they couldn't play the whole thing all the way through without making a mistake. Of course, that all changed for live, but yeah, interesting. 17 edits, so yeah, try and find out where they are.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I don't know where
Eddie Offord was a god.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
They probably had the edits because they'd not learnt it yet. They were in the studio and it was new.
Yeah, writing it as
they were
went along,
recording it in bits, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They probably only practiced it as one piece after the album, didn't they? Probably.
Yeah.
Have you guys got anything to add on your?
Yeah, well, I can talk. I mean, it's not really so much about the about Tarkus as it was, but more as we do it. So what I do to, I mean, wait a minute, trying to make myself big. Yeah, I'm just focusing on the instrument I would like to be playing. So what I do is I use MIDI guitar sounds. So I use VST plugins. I can see Tom's probably turning his nose up there. That's what I'm using. But,
no, I'm not turning my nose up at all. It's just not for me. That's all.
Yeah,
a lot of people use them. But,
I'm kidding. Yeah. So basically everything I play can be triggered by my guitar. So every one of these behind me, every one of these kind of presets can be triggered by my guitar. If I put them in. I'll turn my guitar down a little bit so you can hear the keyboard better. So what I'm doing is just sending all of everything I play to MIDI Guitar 2, which is a piece of software. I know I keep going on about it, but it is incredible software. For $99, you can play any sound you want. All you need is a laptop and an audio interface, and it just sends your signal there. But you know, the Tarkus riff used to sound like this when we played it. And now it sounds like this. So it really does add something to the band when we play it. And I can quickly switch between keyboard sounds. So I got something like this. This is actually my spare guitar with not enough frets to play this line, so I run out of frets with this. And then I can change to a Moog sound. Run out of frets.
How were you actually switching quickly? Is that a foot switch?
No, it's a foot switch. Yeah, I'm just switching the MIDI channel, and it's putting it. Right. I don't know if you can see behind, but it's just changing it to this behind me here. You've got the actual Hammond there, and then that's on MIDI channel 1, and then on MIDI channel 2, I've got a Moog synth loaded in.
Could you play samples as well? Could you play the Whoredown sample?
Yeah, can play samples. Can play, you can. This is Sample Tank. You can load in whatever you want in terms of sound. So this is and this is a relatively new addition to the band. Before, what was it, 2018 maybe, or 2019? Before 2019, the Royal Affair tour, I was just using my guitar, and this just added so much. So for me, it's been fantastic to explore all of these synth sounds. All of these Moog sounds, and of course there are emulations of them. I'd love to get in with some analog gear and do it that way, do it properly. But yeah,
you'll need more roadies for that.
Yeah, I think so.
Dave will help you.
Yeah, I'm available.
So that's how I'm. I would love to play something with you guys. Unfortunately, because a few people on Facebook have been saying play something together, but
we can't
because of the delay. It just wouldn't work, unfortunately. However, me and Simon are doing. I'll give this a quick plug again. Me and Simon are doing a performance wherever you're watching it now, on Crowdcast or on Facebook. We are doing a performance next week. In exactly the same place, exactly the same time, and we're going to do it live from either side of the Atlantic, because we have a cunning plan which we have utilised on numerous occasions where we can play together.
Can we plug a gig as well?
Oh, please do, absolutely.
We're playing in Wolverhampton June 27th. Robin Hood, the Robin 2, isn't it?
Ah, the Robin 2.
You've done that, haven't you?
Yeah, a few times, yeah.
June 27th.
In Bilston.
Lovely Bilston, yeah. So unless anything changes with Boris or whatever, but that's scheduled in.
Well, have we got anything more to add, guys? Anything more we want to talk about? There's a few more questions here in Crowdcast. Let me just answer these questions. Rob said, was Carl invited to this talk? No, sadly not. I'd love to get him on one of these, though. He's still a busy guy these days, though. Okay, right. Chris has asked, can you tell us more about the quad mix sound you are working on, or would that... well, this is me asking the second question. Is that going to be giving away your secrets too much?
I can tell you whatever you want to know, but I think we said everything. I'm building the box because I do.
Oh,
I do
wait. Sorry, he. This was an old question, and he said, "Ha I must have predicted you talking about it." But this is something you're putting together on your own.
Well, I mean, there's modules in this Moog that I actually built myself,
Right.
and there's modules in the smaller system which I'm building as well. I get the front panels. You know, the chap in England who made all the way they make the front panels. He made Moog reissued all the old stuff, and they made only so many of this and so many of that. He made the front panels, and he's in England. So my System 15, which I bought from America, he made the panels in England. Moog bought them, built the modules, sold it to a guy, and then I imported it back to England. So I know the chap. So he builds me my cases, and I build the electronics. So because I do all my own electronics, I had this idea of doing the quad sound, which is quite simple, really. Quite a lot of work. You need an oscillator for the speed, and it's a little mixer.
So it's going to be. It's going to be kind of because the modern
switches the signal.
Right, so the modern quads they've got a joystick. So yours is going to be like a preset.
It's going to be much simplified.
Right,
A joystick will be manually. I want to put it with the joystick. You can go from corner to corner and up and down on the left side, up and down the right side. Mine's going to be simple. It's just going to be 3 modes. The quad mode, the actual one where you would have it going around the room, basically is done in with little ICs, that little relays, if you like, sort of a software, no moving parts, if you like, and it just switches audio, and you have an oscillator and a knob, and you can make it go slow or fast. And then once you've done that, you've got some rear speakers. You might as well have the option of putting something just to the back. And then I've got this auto pan module, which is one I bought, just pans stereo. So you stick them to the back speaker, and you could have something in the rear of the room just panning between. And that again has got a speed control. So it's dead simple things that Dave can operate and then leave and forget about, and maybe do something else.
Go and get a beer at the bar.
Yeah. But it's going to be good because I've been testing it out, So.
Right, great. Well, I think we're about wrapping up now.
We should bring Diane back, shouldn't we?
We should bring Diane back. Yes.
So take me out and bring Diane back in.
Okay, great. Okay.
Bye,
great.
Dave.
Cheers.
Thanks so much, Dave. Thank you. All right. So one thing we are going to do over on Crowdcast, we are going to stick around for a little bit longer, and we are going to watch a 1970s performance of ELP playing Tarkus. We can't do this over on Facebook because we might get taken down for copyright. Crowdcast allows you to do all of that stuff, though. I'm about to stick the Crowdcast link in over on Facebook, so you can come and join us over on Crowdcast. Now, this is open to anybody who is a Patreon on my page, and if you're not, then it will ask you if you want to sign up. I would, of course, heartily recommend it. It is the most amazing community going. But come over, and we do 3 live streams a week. I do so much stuff. Behind the scenes post every single day. Coffee morning every weekday morning via Discord. Downloads every month. Whole load of stuff that I do. If you check out that link, it'll take you over to the Crowdcast. Thanks so much, Shirley. Okay, Diane, do you want to wrap us up?
Hi.
So to speak.
Okay. Yes, I would love to.
That's been 2 hours, hasn't it?
It has.
Yeah. Oh, can you believe that? Well, I'll make mine short. I was looking through a book by Mike Good. Mike wrote a wonderful book called On Track, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, every album, every song. And this literally has every album, every song in there. And I was reading a little backstory on Tarkus. If you'd be interested, it's a little history that maybe not everybody is aware of. I wasn't. That the Tarkus design was a mistake and was never supposed to be included in the presentation that, let's see, I'm going to read just from the book, but CCS team were putting together for ELP. And a guy named William Neal. He was doodling, and he started doodling a Tarkus, or excuse me, the armadillo. Armadillo, excuse me. Golly. And he added the guns and the track and whatnot, but it was accidentally included in the presentation. And Keith was like, this is very interesting. And it gave him thought. So he sat down with William, and together they actually created the Tarkus that you see today.
Ah.
And I found it very interesting that was never supposed to be entered in the presentation, and that's what they chose.
That's
So
fascinating.
basically it was a throwaway doodle that Keith picked up on.
It was. And it's just kind of crazy how things can happen sometimes. I mean, thank goodness William was doodling, right? You know?
Yeah.
And so I found that fascinating. And I'll just go ahead and wrap it up. Was there any other questions, Paul, that you wanted to address, or we're done?
No, I think over in here we can answer the questions when we switch to Crowdcast only. So, yeah,
Perfect.
we're
That
good.
sounds great. So I want to say personal thanks to the Facebook crowd. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope that this was an enjoyable experience for everyone, as I'm sure it was. And I'd like to also thank, we have Tom, Frank, Ed, and Dave, who's not with us right now.
He's here
And
in
we
spirit.
have Paul and Simon. We have the Naughty's Puncture, which is a Emerson, Lake and Palmer experience, but I think I've got a word missed out here that I'm looking at. It's the complete Emerson, Lake and Palmer experience, and they are awesome. They play only in the UK, and we would love for them and welcome them to the United States to play. I would fly back east if I had to, just to see Naughty's Puncture play.
That was one of the
And
questions
also-
that we did have. Can you guys play the US? People are asking.
Yeah, yeah. What do you say about that, Tom? Can you
I
play?
can.
We've
I
been
can.
We've been asked that a lot, but it's getting the gear out there,
Yeah.
and you just couldn't
Yeah.
do it without.
No.
I mean,
No.
someone could say to me, "Yeah, I've got a modular Moog you can borrow," but I've customised this so much just to be able
Yeah.
to do numbers.
Yeah.
I'd have to take it. Well, of course, I couldn't take it in my luggage, could I? So it would end up
Yeah.
on a.
I don't think it'll fit.
It would end up on a cargo ship for 3 months, and then
Yeah.
it's got to come back. It'll get damaged
Yeah.
or lost.
No way.
It's a lot easier for people to pack a small suitcase and just come over here.
Yeah.
I got to get my ticket for the UK.
Yeah, when I go on
Absolutely.
tour, I go on tour with a guitar, a laptop, and a pedal board, and that's it. I don't take
Yeah.
an amplifier.
Travel
You're
lights?
set.
We
You're
can't.
set.
If I just use laptops and maybe a certain synth with a cartridge, hire me that synth and I'll plug the
Yeah.
but I don't, unfortunately.
It's not that,
Well,
and also that's people want to see the show.
Exactly.
That's the USP of Naughty's Puncture, isn't it? That's the,
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, I want to see Tom throw daggers into the Hammond and jump on
So-
top of it and play back.
I can't do the jumping anymore, Diane. I used to. But
No.
since my motorcycle accident, I have to be very careful.
You do a pretty good job, Tom.
Oh yeah.
This is the opportunity for another plug, which is Manticore, which
Oh,
is
yes,
their-
Manticore.
They're US cousins of Naughty's Puncture, based in New York. So if you want to see an ELP tribute band over here, Manticore.
They are great too. They really do. They have a great performance. It's a
Your state-
must-see.
Get your stateside fix with Manticore.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
But I want to thank everybody again, and we'll go ahead and close off the Facebook side and go
Yep.
to Patreon's Crowdcast.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Well, yeah. So I'll close down the Facebook feed. Thank you so much for everyone joining me on Facebook. Really appreciate it. Again, come over and join us on Crowdcast.
Absolutely.
It is the equivalent of a cup of coffee. So come over, you will not
Which
regret
Paul
it.
would very appreciate. Paul would appreciate that
I
cup of
love
coffee very much.
I love coffee. All right, guys. Thanks so much. And we will see you soon.
Bye-bye.